my speech very brief, and I mainly want to talk about the representation of women in the media. A few days ago, I work as an executive producer at Express News, and कुछ दिन पहले हमने एक सक्खर में एक केस था about कारोबारी, and उसको हमने काफी play up किया. I think 1-2 दिन we made it an issue. And my own husband asked me, he's like, why is it that women are always portrayed as victims on Pakistani media and not as heroes or not as, people with more stories to tell than just victims? And I think the reason is very clear. It's because women till today are not decision makers in media of Pakistan. I'm working as an executive producer at Express. I'm the only female executive producer that I know of in Pakistan. Because women, while media is just one of those many fields that women are still staying away from. And while we talk a lot about female empowerment and women entering a lot of fields, if you look at it critically, you'll see that women are generally still entering fields जहाँ पर उनका comfort level हो, or fields that are traditionally considered to be okay for women. The number of women journalists in Pakistan is still shockingly low. The number of women entertainers in Pakistan is still very small. And also women from good families generally tend to shun professions where they have to leave their homes or where they have to step outside their comfort zones. So that, I believe, if you look at one comparison that I can draw is the civil rights movement in America, where till to date the problem in America is that black people, or those who belong to the African American race, are still portrayed in newspapers and on channels as victims, or they're portrayed as people with, people who are committing crimes, or they're portrayed as dropouts from school. The stories of black people becoming CEOs, or stories of African Americans becoming professionals or winning awards never really make it into newspapers. And again, the reason remains the same, that newsrooms in America are heavily dominated by white. And I think a similar paradox can be seen in Pakistan. And the media, especially in a democratic society, is not just the voice of the people, it's also what gets the stories out, and it also has the power of portraying Pakistan the way we want to portray. So I believe that while women participation in politics, women participation in law are other fields where women need to make an effort to get on the top, media is yet another field where the lack of women decision makers will mean that the news that goes on television always has a male-centric view, or the news that we see or how events are covered is always going to be men. I mean, around us, all these journalists are men. And a lot of the cameramen you will see today covering this event are men. And the question is, can men, especially men in Pakistan, who are not used to seeing empowered women, or who are not used to seeing women step outside their homes, can they really cover women issues or women events or, stories about women in a way that would be sympathetic to women? And again, we've seen that that's not the case. Because men in Pakistan are still on a learning curve when it comes to understanding women empowerment, or when it comes to accepting women as equals, men as cameramen or men as photographers or men as journalists are never going to cover our events the way a woman journalist would or the way a woman reporter would. And I believe that now we're at a stage in Pakistan where a working woman has become the norm, but a woman as a decision maker hasn't. And we need to push that extra hard and go that extra mile to make sure that we are the ones who are determining how women are being portrayed, and we are the ones who are telling women's stories in a way that maybe women's stories should be told. So that's just a really brief summation of what I believe the representation is. Thank you.